tortured and murdered inside a seminar hall of RG Medical College in Kolkata. As per the post-mortem report, her endocervical canal had 151-gram viscid fluid. She was throttled to death. Her thyroid cartilage was broken due to strangulation. Her genitals were tortured. Her nose, mouth were clammed. Her belly, her face, her fingers and her legs injured. They beat her with such force that the shards of glass from her spectacles broke and entered her eyes. She also suffered injuries on her head as they banged it against the walls of the institute she trained at to fulfill her aspirations of being a medical professional who heals humankind. But not even a shred of humanity existed in the way she was taken away. What followed was a nationwide cry for justice. People from all walks of life joined in to demand justice for another of India's daughter. But a 5-month relentless fight, it seems, has either fallen on deaf ears or because of some laxity, hard evidence has been lost out on. The Sealdah court today said that the case does not count as rarest of rare and therefore refused to grant capital punishment to the rapist Sanjay Roy. He's been sentenced to life imprisonment, and after 5 months, citizens are once again back on the streets demanding justice. So, is this really justice delivered, or does Sanjay Roy deserve the gallows? Before we take that forward, here's what happened in the courtroom earlier today. The CBI claimed that this was rarest of the rare case, the first argument that came in from the investigating agency. And they pushed for death penalty while saying the same for accused Sanjay Roy. The accused lawyer, on the other hand, pled that he was innocent and was rather being framed, while Abhaya's parents maintained that the investigation is only half done and there are other accused in the case who are still at large. The CBI further claimed that death penalty will bring back society's faith in the judicial system. The accused lawyer, however, continued to claim that the accused was tortured and not allowed to speak, and that he was not the one behind the heinous crime. He's only being framed. As far as the parents, the kin of the victim are concerned, they appealed to the court for a death penalty for Sanjay Roy. Further, the CBI, if we talk about the charges, once again reiterated in the court, appealed to the court that we must maintain confidence of the society. Trying to further the argument, the accused even claimed that he was wearing a rudraksh that would have been broken if he was present at the crime spot. But the judge paid no heed to that argument and found him guilty of the crime. The parents, in the meanwhile, appealed to the judge for capital punishment, and they said that they're seeking justice, not compensation. While pronouncing the quantum of punishment, here's what Judge Anirban Das observed. We quickly take you through the big takeaways, the observations made by the court. Firstly, while countering the CBI, he said that crime does not fall under the rarest of the rare category, which was pitted by the CBI as part of its arguments. Sanjay Roy was found guilty for rape and murder of the trainee Dr. Abhaya, was the big observation that came in, while admitting his heinous involvement once again. And the court also sentenced Sanjay Roy to life imprisonment and asked him to pay 50,000 rupees in fine. The court then directed the state to pay 17 lakh rupees in compensation to the parents, and following this there was a brief exchange, a heated argument between the judge and the parents. The parents said that they're seeking justice, not compensation, to which the judge replied that this was statutory in nature. Not rarest of the rare case, said the judge. This was the reason stated while denying capital punishment to the accused in this case. But what does this exactly mean? What determines a rarest of the rare case? We'll take you through the big criterias. A, it must be a heinous crime that warrants public abhorrence. The mental state and rehabilitation of accused must also be considered. That's another factor that is taken into account. Further, crime must shock the collective conscience of the society, which it did in this very case, and we know how that movement from streets in Kolkata spread to across the nation. There must be no alternative punishment viable is another factor that's kept in mind, and the punishment must respond to society's cry for justice. But viewers, past precedent from court verdicts has though established the doctrine around the legal concept of rarest of rare cases. The scope of this phrase has been left undefined, and since life imprisonment is the rule and death penalty the exception, it's incumbent upon the investigators at each level to ensure a watertight case is presented before the courts. And so we ask, does the blood-curdling crime not amount to rarest of the rare? As the rapist is sentenced to life imprisonment, is it really justice delivered? We'll talk about that with our experts in just a bit. First up, the top reactions.
arising. The CBI failed to convince the Honorable Court that it is the rarest of rare crime. That is, we think it is there are lapses and failure on the part of CBI.
আমরা কিন্তু অনেক দিন আগেই ফাঁসির অর্ডার দিয়ে দিতে পারতাম, ফাঁসির অর্ডার করে দিতে পারতাম।
मुझे लगता है और भी इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए, स्पेशली कोर्ट को बोलना चाहिए था कि जो बात संजय कर रहा है, संजय जो बात कर रहा है, उन्होंने राजीव कुमार का नाम लिया, पुलिस का नाम लिया, उसका तहकीकात होना।
In the Arjikar matter, verdict has certainly been delivered, but has justice been delivered? Has closure been given?
All right, let's quickly open this up with our experts joining us this evening. Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the BJP, joins me in the studio along with Shubhankar Bhattacharya, political analyst, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, Padma Shri awardee and Chairman Nephron Clinic with us as well, along with lawyer Supreme Court Ashutosh Srivastav to take us through the legal takeaways of the big word that's coming from the courts a little while earlier. Ashutosh, let me begin with you before I get to the political aspect of things and also take in questions from those concerned, those who've been involved with the investigations the last 5-6 months. Tell us what you make of the quantum of sentence that's coming from the court, and how justified do you think this really is, because the judge in this case cited the fact that this is not rarest of rare, right? But the CBI argued against it while it was presenting its arguments, and of what we make of what constitutes or defines rarest of rare, it's a very subjective understanding, isn't it?
See, one thing we must appreciate that the trial has been conducted really very fast, and if we see within some months only, the court could come to a conclusion and could declare and finish the trial against this particular accused, Sanjay Roy. And further, this court convicted him for life imprisonment. Now, so far as the capital punishment is concerned, now it is the judicious mind of the judge as to what evidences and the aspect of the case he takes into consideration, and how the prosecution presents the case before the court. So it is the judicious mind of the court. But at the same time, I feel the victims, parents, her families, they have all the rights to approach to the High Court. They can challenge this order if they feel that the punishment given is less than what was expected. It should have been a capital punishment. They have all those rights to approach. But only thing, as I said, that concluding a trial within these months is appreciable. And I think even the CBI has worked well in this regard, and they have tried to produce all the relevant documents, evidences, and the examination of the witnesses, then cross-examination of the witnesses, so that the charges could be framed and the court could come to a final conclusion. And by that, the court convicted this particular accused.
If this indeed was a watertight case, then should we have not heard from the judge say that this amounts to death penalty or calls for death penalty? That's what the family is saying today. What gets...
See, the law, I am not saying whether his judicious mind was correct in deciding, considering all the aspect of the case. Because see, whatever we know the case is through
We're not taking away from his judicial expertise, Ashutosh. I'm saying, was there any shortcoming on part of the investigating agency to put forth the concrete evidence that would have led to this kind of a strict punishment?
Okay. See, even when an investigating agency produces and does its best by producing all the relevant papers, documents, witnesses, everything, even after that, it is the court, to apply its judicious mind as to what would be the right punishment, considering all the aspects. And considering the time frame in which the CBI has done this job, I think it is something they have really worked hard and good to produce all the relevant papers, documents, witnesses, etc. before the court, so that the court could reach to a conclusion. But just saying that the investigating agency could not prove the case to be a matter of capital punishment, that would not be appropriate at this point of time. And I'm sure this matter may go up to the High Court for further consideration of the order and final judgment
No,
passed
I'm
by
saying
the
it for a host of
CBI
reasons,
court.
because the family members, the several doctors who've been up in arms have also been citing the manner in which there was a possible involvement of others as well. The buck doesn't stop with Sanjay Roy, and all of this that has not been able to see the light of the day because of the manner in which investigations were carried out, and rightfully so, because 13th of December is when the Salda court in Kolkata granted bail to Sandeep Ghosh and Abhijit Mandal in the case, not because of anything else, because there was because the charge sheet against them wasn't filed within the mandatory 90-day period. But Mr. Sanjeev Bagai, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, how do you respond to this? Once again, anger on the streets. We see this, revival of the justice movement that we'd seen in Kolkata for the longest time, and a lot of disappointment that's essentially come in with this court verdict.
Good evening. So just allow me 2 minutes so that I can put the entire thing in the correct perspective. I think there can be nothing more savage, nothing more barbaric and heinous as a crime than to rape or gang rape and then kill brutally an unarmed doctor who's on duty as a young girl. I think this is inhuman. So from that point of view, it should be a capital punishment. It should be the maximum punishment. There is no point in giving these people a chance of reform, for the simple reason is that the past record of this person, he's been a serial offender. He's been in pornography. He's had sexual contacts. His track record is bad. And worst of all is there are accomplices in this entire crime. You can't have a person as a police volunteer coming in and out of the hospital without restricted access in most sensitive parts of the hospital, unless until the hospital is giving some sort of cover, some sort of collision, so to say. Now, when you're looking at lapses, look at the lapses at that time. There was no security cover, the CCTV cameras missing, there were no female guards, there was no restricted access. But more importantly is, why I'm disappointed is that the hospital initially told the family it's a suicide, then a rape and then a death. There was no FIR which was lodged in the appropriate time frame. All this has been picked up even by the Honorable Supreme Court. The issue is that the evidence was tampered. If your crime scene is not sanitized and secured, no investigation agency, especially in forensic medicine, can come to absolute explicit terms to catch the criminals. The hooligans came and vandalized the crime scene. The crime scene right next to a wall was being created. If you go through the past 5 months back, the episode. Issue is Supreme Court instituted a committee of doctors. We would like to know what the report of the doctors committee is. Has there been any lessons learned from Nirbhaya? No. Have there been any lessons learned from the loss of this young girl? No. I am telling you in straight terms that the evidence obviously has been tampered. Supreme Court has picked it up themselves. 5 to 7 days later, you hand it over to CBI. Yes, CBI has done a phenomenal job. Now, this is not only a West Bengal centric issue. Issue is doctors need protection, young women need protection. This deserves capital punishment. It's the doctors are the most vulnerable, especially after 48 hours. Young women are working and giving their life for the profession to save human lives. How can you gang rape or rape a young lady and then kill her in her workplace? What can be worse in humanity than this? Capital punishment, that's what it should be.
And why have we not seen security measures be implemented? If a lady doctor is on a night shift, what really explains this kind of lax behavior on part of the hospital authorities as well? But Mr. Bhattacharya, now that we see Mamata Banerjee after the longest time say that capital punishment is the way to go forward, and I'm not quite convinced with the verdict that's come in. What has been pointed out by Dr. Sanjeev Bagai is the truth that rests with what we've seen all through the investigations in this case. Now, you may keep pinning the blame on the CBI, but the fact of the matter is that apart from several other things that went wrong on the very campus of that state-run college, there was a delay in filing the FIR, a 14-hour delay. Not to forget how an attempt was made to brush this aside by calling it a suicide.
See, there are a lot of questions now that arises, once this verdict comes up. And I completely agree that we all are disappointed at a point when we were expecting nowhere less than a death penalty. But having said that, the state government has come up with some concrete steps against it. If you remember, 4 months back, they came up with a Aparajita bill that does, prevent such kind of reoccurring to occur again. But what kind of concrete action are we seeing from the central part? Nothing. The second part is, there are
Mr.
also...
Bhattacharya, simple question. What explains the 14-hour delay?
It's a state subject. Do you not understand law and order is a state subject?
Whether you agree or not, whether you agree or not, at least let me finish it. You can always, but kindly let me finish what I have to say. Right. So the point is very simple, in that, there are a lot of takeaways. Number one, the CBI has done a good job or a bad job, but if the CBI was allowed to do its job, which was primarily, solving this particular case, rather than, serving to the vested interest of their masters, in fact. If that
I can't believe he's saying
So the
this.
CBI took over the probe after 4 to 5 days.
Krishwin, can I come in now?
A, the CBI took over after 4 to 5 days. B, there was a delay in filing the FIR. C, it was called a suicide. Now, do those questions point to the CBI or the Kolkata police? Simple yes or no, simple answer, then I need to go to Charu, please.
There is no simple answer as such to anything like this. See, if you want to have one sort of opinion, there is no need of having a discussion.
Yes, you can only have one sort of an opinion on a murder as gruesome as this. I don't know how you can have an alternate view.
At least you shouldn't speak about it.
No, you cannot have an alternate view. There can only be one opinion over this.
Saru, should I get into the bottom-up?
Sir, the simple reason why this question... The simple reason why this question is being asked to you is because law and order is a state subject. The police was to first deal with it. The first evidence also rested with the police. So what really explains, the delay, sir, on part of the Kolkata police? And today, why is it that the TMC thinks it's in a position to defend the Kolkata police and to go after the CBI? I will raise those questions with Charu Pragya, but you do the explaining on part of Kolkata police, please.
I'm not a spokesperson of Kolkata police, and what I'm saying is very simple, is that even the Chief Minister is continuously saying that if you could have allowed the police to perform its duty properly before you
Can I please come in and update everyone on what the Chief Minister has been saying? Mr. Bhattacharya,
so your argument is, had the Kolkata police carried out the investigations throughout, we would have seen the judge today give capital punishment instead of give death penalty instead of life imprisonment, right? Charu, please respond.
And what happened with the CBI?
Mr. Bhattacharya,
so you're placing your faith in Kolkata police over the CBI. Let her respond.
Okay.
Krishwin, I would like to do a quick recap. A young lady doctor is in hospital and she is found assaulted, raped and murdered in the middle of the night. She's got 25 injuries on her body, 16 of them are external. Traces of blood and skin were found under her fingernails. She has been gagged, smothered, throttled and strangled. She was bleeding from her private parts, her collarbone was probably broken, and I can go on and tell you what was the plight of her condition when she was discovered the next morning. But here is what happened. Mr. Bhattacharya, please let me finish, and I am taking this topic very, very seriously. This is not an issue of debate. Krishwin, you'll have to make him quiet or put a filter on his voice.
Bhattacharya, 1 second. You put forth a question. You spoke of how the Kolkata police is more reliable. Let her do the answering.
It is important we remember these injuries and we remember this incident, because then I'm going to tell you what happened thereafter. The next day, first of all, there was a huge gap. There was no CCTV footages found. Her parents were informed very late. It was tagged off as a suicide first. No police complaint was filed till the parents got there. Parents got there half a day later, no police complaint was filed. There was victim shaming. In fact, Mamata Banerjee on record in a press conference is offering 10 lakh rupees to the victims' parents. That's the extent to which you had gone. When there was a demand for CBI inquiry, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said, give the police 7 days. In 7 days, let them investigate. If they don't do it, we'll give it to the CBI. What happened in those 7 days? Instead of cordoning off the area of crime and protecting it, there was renovation that was carried out there. There was literally a stampede, a mob entered the hospital, and whatever remaining evidence was there was again deliberately destroyed. There were TMC workers caught on CCTV in that particular mob. This is the situation. What is the end result? Whatever evidence was there was destroyed by the compliance of the sitting Chief Minister of West Bengal. She is the only lady Chief Minister today. She is also the Health Minister of the state. And what has she done? She has shielded the victim, she shielded the accused, whoever they were, for such a long time that the CBI was not able to do its job. Today, if the court says that this was not the rarest of the rare case, you know why? It's because you did not allow evidence collection. Today, Sandeep Ghosh, who was transferred out momentarily, has been called back within 3 months. Within 3 months, after such a gruesome murder and rape. Why was he called back? The police commissioner of Kolkata still is being shielded. In fact, the person who's now been labelled as the accused is saying that something fishy is going on. He's being framed. I say, let that investigation happen. When the governor of West Bengal asks for those details, asks for the files, you know what is being told? Not available. You can't get it. So why is it that our blood is not going to boil when you sit here and defend it and pretend everything is hunky-dory and this is how investigation happens? The entire country was on the road for her. The entire country. How can you pretend it is just something that happens every single day?
Mr.
Why must women go through
if this brutal rape and murder took place on the 9th, what explains on the 15th that kind of
her
mob
body
thrashing?
was cremated, Christine, before her parents got there. Her body was cremated. That's the amount of respect you showed her. What's the answer to that?
Why should
was the
tampering
hurry?
of evidence not be a charge that the TMC faces today, Mr. Bhattacharya?
See, one thing, you need to understand that
After the manner in which this young doctor was brutally raped and murdered, what explains the fact that there was not enough security deployed in the very premises where investigations are being carried out, sir, that a mob can come and destruct evidence to that effect?
Well, that was for the CBI to explain it in the report. That they had to express in front of
Sir,
the
were
court.
the CBI officials guarding the hospital premises, sir?
Just let me finish. Now you have asked me a question. You didn't interrupt in between the Charu as well, right? The way Charu had, dramatized and
Dramatized? I only gave you the sequence of events.
Pointed at
truth.
Mr.
It's not drama.
Mr.
If you think her life was drama, shame on you.
1 second, Charu. Sir, we have limited time. My only appeal to you is...
Christine, how can he call it dramatization? This is a verbatim explanation of what happened, not drama.
Well, explaining the Kuldeep Singh case. Where was she? Why the Kuldeep Singh case was...
No, I would explain every single case with the same amount of energy. How dare you say this is drama? The victim has faced this and you're still defending the situation. Tell me, why was the body cremated? Tell me why was the renovation started out in the hospital instead of protecting that place? Tell me, why did you pretend it's the victim's fault? You victim shamed her. You were asking questions as to what she was doing in hospital.
Okay, I don't think our viewers are being able to listen to either of you. 1 second, Mr. Bhattacharya, wait. Please, there's a pointed... Charu, let him respond.
Please don't do this.
Mr. Bhattacharya, I've asked you a pointed question. Let's not digress. We have limited time on this debate. Please stick to the debate line and tell me what I'm asking you, sir.
Tell me,
I'm asking you about the lack of proper security at the hospital premises. I'm asking you about the delay in filing the FIR. I'm asking you about going easy on the principal even when such a blunder has happened in his very college. It's a state-run college we're talking about. I'm asking you about all these things.
All I'm saying, the co-accused that the CBI arrested were produced in the court later. They were released just because they couldn't file a charge sheet even after 90 days.
I will
What
take that
was
to
CBI
Charu, and I
doing?
need to go across to the
What
other
was
two
CBI
gentlemen as
doing?
well. But you answer my question,
If
sir.
there is
I will
accrual
ask that to
over
Charu.
there, so both accused also could have been sent behind the bar.
Okay, so you clearly have nothing to say in defense of the Kolkata police, but I'll take your question to Charu. Charu.
So,
What
like
explains the delay in the charge sheet? Because two people that the BJP continues to say are to be held responsible and law should catch up with them got away because of that delay.
Sandeep Ghosh, for him, in fact, our state president had written a letter and said ED needs to investigate this. Why is it the chief minister is shielding all these accused? And it's a very big question, because today when you're trying to put a charge sheet together, understand how the law works. The law works in a very systematic manner. You have to produce evidence in court. The very same evidence which was systematically destroyed. Systematically destroyed. I asked you pointed questions and I will ask you again. Why was the victim's body cremated before the parents got there? What was the hurry? My second question is, why did you allow renovation to go on in that part of the hospital before the mob even got to it? Why do you have renovation when you're supposed to cordon off and keep it safe? My third question is, when Sandeep Ghosh was transferred out, you got him back. You got him back within 3 months. So when you are going to destroy evidence, CBI needs to put it together to build a case in court.
Sir,
you can't wave a wand.
With an
You have to build a
investigation
case
like
in
this,
court.
we can't rely on Google, sir, and this is no WhatsApp university discussion. So let's not go down that road.
And these questions deserve answering.
But since this is a non-stop, unending back and forth, I need to quickly go across to others. Let them come in as well. Ashutosh, I have a very pertinent question, and you know we've been able to put up some research together. There are two cases. One is, of course, the current case that everybody says needs a stricter punishment for the accused. The other is the Sharon Raj murder case, wherein Sharon Raj was poisoned by her partner. Now, the court said that this doesn't send out a good message to the society and sentenced the accused to death. Why can't the same be applied to this particular case? Where is the legal hurdle really?
Yes, I do agree. As I said, that it is the judicious mind of a judge to decide. And as what we were discussing earlier, you know, had the police registered the FIR on time and everything was done in a systematic manner.
Case for capital punishment for the accused?
No, see, it still can be considered maybe by the High Court when it goes for challenging the order before the High Court. So it was actually the Supreme Court which had to intervene when the investigation was not happening in the right direction. We know that CBI was later appointed to do the investigation and submits its report, and thereafter only the matter turned up in the right direction. And within 5 months, the matter could be closed, at least for one accused who has been arrested and now convicted. Yes, I do agree that if the actions were taken initially at the right time, then the other accused could also be behind the bar, and giving capital punishment would have been somewhat better for a judge also in that regard. Because see, only one person I think was not the only accused responsible, but there might be some others also involved into this. So all these, their examination, cross-examination, everything could have taken place while deciding the punishment for this particular accused. So I think the delay has really caused, grave impact on the entire case. But still, CBI has managed its best so that the court can reach to a final conclusion.
Okay. I want to give the last word to Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Thank you so much for waiting patiently. So what next, sir? Because, we've seen a lot of medical facilities come to a halt when the first series of protests took place. And I'm afraid this is headed in the same very direction.
Yes, there have been series of crimes. I think we are just focusing on one crime. The most heinous and the most barbaric has been to kill a young girl. We have allowed that to happen. Make no mistake about it. The hospital administration has been lax as far as protocols, security, giving restricted access to sensitive areas. That's bizarre. How can you do this in 2024, entering 2025? Point number two is, why has the medical superintendent of the hospital not been permanently terminated? Within 1 hour, he was just transferred to another unit. Is this crazy or what? Next point. What is the responsibility being fixed now on the police commissioner? You have tampered the crime scene. You have not been able to keep it sanitized. You have destroyed evidence. Then you ask the CBI to come in and investigate. even 1 hour of tampering of evidence is enough to delay and derail the process for years together. It is full marks to the CBI, which have actually made one single person accountable. But were there others? Why are we not crucifying the medical superintendent? Why is his degree not being permanently terminated and suspended? Why is he still in service? Why is the police commissioner still in service? I think we are trying the patience of the young doctors. Least I say, and I'm the last person to recommend or make any such suggestions, the doctors may hit the streets again. It is not going to be a good thing for West Bengal healthcare.
Not just the questions you're raising, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, the principal who's in charge of all the administrative work in the college, also wasn't removed. He was asked to gracefully step down. So what explains these series of questions that remain unanswered still? That's all the time I have, gentlemen. Charu, thank you so much for joining us. Let's just hope that we do see justice at the end of the road and the family is able to at least go back with some answers. We head into a very short break with that, viewers. On the other side, we talk about the underworld link that's emerged to what transpired in Sambhal in 2024. Was the riot plot set off by D-Gang? We'll get you all the details in just a bit. We'll be right back.
MDH का किचन
לא הסיכוי שנוותר על האחד שתחזירי אלינו. אין יום שלא חשבנו עלייך, עשינו הכל מהבוקר עד הלילה רק להחזיר אותך אלינו. זהו עכשיו אותי.
גל? שומע אותי?
כן, שלום. ראש הממשלה, אני נמצא במרכז המבצעים שלנו, של מערכת הביטחון, עם המוסד, עם השב"כ, עם צה"ל, עם כל המערכת שלנו, ואני רוצה לדווח לך שהחטופות שלנו הועברו לידי כוחותינו, וממש בדקות האלה הן עוברות את הגבול לשטחנו. אני מתרגש מאוד.
הם חצו כבר את הגבול לישראל?
זה ממש קורה בדקות האלה, עכשיו.
אז ברגע שזה קורה, דווח לי שהן נמצאות בשטח המדינה שלנו. זה יום מאוד מרגש. אלה החטופות הראשונות בסבב הזה שאנחנו מחזירים הביתה, ואני מבקש גל שתמסור להן, לרומי, לדורון, לאמילי, עם שלם מחבק אתכם. ברוכות השבות הביתה.
By the 16th day of the deal, talks will begin in the second phase. This phase includes the release of Israeli soldiers and a permanent end of the war without Hamas in power or able to threaten Israel. Hundreds of trucks are entering Gaza as I speak. They're carrying assistance for civilians who suffered enormously from the war that Hamas started on October 7, 2023, nearly 15 months ago. Today alone, we anticipate several hundred trucks will enter the Gaza Strip as I'm speaking. And after so much pain, destruction, loss of life, today the guns in Gaza have gone silent.
Bring them home! Bring them home! Bring them!
I want to thank you for the President Trump to make this deal happen. And
Welcome back. In a major development to the Sambhal violence case, the Uttar Pradesh police have exposed the lies spread about the killing of few people during the violence that unfolded post court-mandated survey of Shahi Jama Masjid in UP Sambhal. The police have revealed that 2 of the 4 people from the crowd had been shot by the accused, Mullah Afroz. He's associated with the notorious Sharik Satha gang. This comes after it was alleged earlier that the police had deliberately targeted those who were protesting to save the contested masjid site on the 24th November last year. While the police denied the allegations of firing and said that only tear gas shells were fired on the day of the violence by the authorities to control the crowd, the truth now stands exposed. Investigation in the case has revealed that 2 of the 4 men had been shot by one of their own and not by the police. The accused, identified as Mullah Afroz, like I said, has been arrested by the police and is being interrogated. During the violence, Mullah Afroz, along with his associates, targeted the police and opened fire at them. Meanwhile, in the chaos, some bullets hit their associates and people who were gathered there. Bilal and Ayan died due to Mullah Afroz's bullet, says the police. Afroz is a member of international auto lifter Sharik Satha gang who smuggled stolen vehicles and weapons. The police have also recovered the 32-bore pistol and cartridges used in firing from the accused. 15 blank cartridges and 3 charger clips also looted from the police during the chaos have been recovered from him. The gang is responsible for 2 of the 4 deaths in Sambhal, but this is not all. The underground link isn't the only one under investigation. First, Pakistan-made cartridges were recovered from the violent site. Then US-made cartridges were found by the police. And now, a suspected Dawood gang link. Clearly, there's more to than what meets the eye in Sambhal. Violence will more skeletons stumble out of the closet. Only time will tell. But those who try to fearmonger around the survey by holding the police responsible for the 2 lives lost surely stand exposed today. We head into a short break. With that, we'll cover that very closely going forward. But the stage, viewers, is set and everyone's counting down to Trump 2.0 swearing-in ceremony, which is set to begin in a few hours from now. What's in it for India? We'll get you all the details with our experts in just a bit.
Co-powered by
בשנייה לא הפסקנו. לא היה סיכוי שנוותר על האחד שתחזירי אלינו. אין יום שלא חשבנו עלייך, עשינו הכל מהבוקר עד הלילה רק להחזיר אותך אלינו. אני לא חושב אותי.
גל, שומע אותי?
כן, שלום. ראש הממשלה, אני נמצא במרכז המבצעים שלנו, של מערכת הביטחון, עם המוסד, עם השב"כ, עם צה"ל, עם כל המערכת שלנו, ואני רוצה לדווח לך שהחטופות שלנו הועברו לידי כוחותינו, וממש בדקות האלה הן עוברות את הגבול לשטחנו. אני מתרגש מאוד.
הם חצו כבר את הגבול לישראל?
זה ממש קורה בדקות האלה, עכשיו.
אז ברגע שזה קורה, דווח לי שהן נמצאות בשטח המדינה שלנו. זה יום מאוד מרגש. אלה החטופות הראשונות בסבב הזה שאנחנו מחזירים הביתה, ואני מבקש גל שתמסור להן, לרומי, לדורון, לאמילי, עם שלם מחבק אתכם. ברוכות השבות הביתה.
By the 16th day of the deal, talks will begin in the second phase. This phase includes the release of Israeli soldiers and a permanent end of the war without Hamas in power or able to threaten Israel. Hundreds of trucks are entering Gaza as I speak. They're carrying assistance for civilians who suffered enormously from the war that Hamas started on October 7, 2023, nearly 15 months ago. Today alone, we anticipate several hundred trucks will enter the Gaza Strip as I'm speaking. And after so much...
Welcome back. The countdown is on. In a few hours from now, Donald Trump will take over as the 47th President of the United States officially. From a twice impeached courtroom regular to the first president to stage a non-consecutive comeback, Donald Trump's second inauguration isn't just history in the making, it's history flipping the script. But what does this mean for India? Let's run you through the pros and cons. While the personal rapport that Donald Trump shares with Prime Minister Modi is a huge pro for India, his stance on immigration and its subsequent impact on Indians in the US could go against India's long-term interests. Further, Trump's China decoupling push and the US-China +1 policy could help India emerge as a manufacturing hub, attracting US businesses seeking to diversify. Moreover, strengthening US, India, Japan, Australia alliance at Quad to counterbalance China could also be on the cards. However, Trump's America First policy may disrupt India's traditional international relationship. Trump's peace through strength aligns with India's security interests, and Trump may address India's demand for firmer US stance on Pakistan to address border terrorism. So that's a pro surely. But Trump 2.0 may also lead to a rise in bond market yields, particularly the 10-year treasury. A stronger US bond yield can further exacerbate the capital outflows from emerging markets, including India. Further, Trump's love for fossil fuel could lead to more production of oil and gas, which could ease the global oil prices. This is likely to benefit Indian refiners and consumers. However, rupee overall is likely to see a downgrade, courtesy increased inflation and rates staying higher for longer. But there are some challenges that India is surely set to encounter in the road ahead. And let's try and decode that. Donald Trump's erratic diplomacy could complicate India's international relations. That's not a sure shot, but with Donald Trump, nothing can be ruled out. India will need to balance its autonomy while manage ties with US and at the same time maintain relations with countries like Russia and Iran. India may also need to adapt to US tariffs and balance global trade dynamics. India must ensure it remains attractive to investors for FDIs amid potential US policy changes. And lastly, the biggest challenge for India would be H-1B visa and green card policies by Donald Trump. Tough H-1B visa policy may impact Indian IT workers and companies. So that's also something that we're watching out for very closely, as all eyes are on Trump 2.0 and we're counting down to the inaugural ceremony. Will ties with India going forward under Trump presidency for the second time be tricky or fruitful? We'll decode that with our guest joining us in just a bit. Here are the top voices we've heard so far.
It's been a torrent of announcements from Trump ever since his election on all that he will do as president, and now the due delivery date is at hand.
We'll be sworn in tomorrow. We're all going to be sworn in together. That's the way I look at it. It's not me. It's you. Greatest of all time. So we will be sworn in tomorrow. I'll be representing you as your 47th President of the United States.
Quickly opening this up with Prabhu Dayal, former diplomat who's also had his own share of experience in the United States as a diplomat, is with us this evening. Good evening to you, sir. Also joining us is Tara Karta, former Director, National Security Council Secretariat or the NSCS. Before I come to the two of you, just bear with me patiently because I need to quickly take in a word from Sanjay Suri, my colleague who's in Washington, D.C. Sanjay, we're learning that a rare winter storm is predicted in Washington, D.C. and clearly going by the visuals we're picking up, looks like it, but the sun is out as well. So tell us, what kind of preparations are we staring at as we speak?
Well, this is, if you're standing here in Washington, D.C., it's not about prediction. It's about the here and now. It's really bone-chilling out here. But of course, this is the big day, and it's not just a big day ceremonially by way of the handover to a new president. There's always a momentous occasion in the U.S. But given Trump, given all that we've been told about what's imminent, this is going to be a very explosive start to the new presidency. We are expecting as many as 200 proclamations on day one, and relatively Biden issued about 160 orders in his term, and there's now talk of 200 in a day. So really Trump is impatient to get going. He's not just going to wait even to get to his Oval Office at the end of the day, past the ceremonies. Just after he takes oath, he's going to start passing the orders. A lot of these decisions will be announced between the oath taking, which is at 12 noon local time, and lunch with the senators that follows immediately afterwards. And so this is now going to be a start. We know what the headline decisions will be. They will relate to immigration, primarily the illegal migrants. The target is really great. It's daunting. An estimated 11 million illegal migrants that Trump will want to put on a one-way flight out. It's not going to be easy. There'll be logistical difficulties, legal challenges. Then the issue about the January 6 rioters, many of them are in jail. They expect to be released today. Certainly a lot of people have been sitting overnight outside jail waiting to welcome them out. So a lot of very controversial moves within the US. Then of course, finally, and the big one internationally, are we going to see the end of the Ukraine war within 24 hours? Well, we are at the start of that. We'll know very soon whether that happens.
Oh yes, because the clock in that particular sense is surely ticking for Donald Trump, but we're keeping a close watch on several clocks, and we'll keep coming back to you, Sanjay. Sorry for making you wait. I know it's really cold, so we'll let you go for now. We'll come back to you in just a few minutes. For now, I'll go across to our experts joining us. Mr. Dayal, to you first. Sanjay gave us a quick insight into all that's expected as soon as Donald Trump takes over as the 47th president of United States, and he's already spoken of signing at least 200 executive orders. That I see is part of a larger messaging that he's attempting to do, that this is why I said America will be great again, and I'm down to business on the very first day. But given that there are several, friendly faces for India in Trump 2.0, how do you see that playing out for us when it comes to day-to-day functioning in several departments?
Well, thanks for having me on your show. I was listening to your introductory remarks, and you have highlighted some of the most important factors which will deepen America's strategic relationship with India. You mentioned, of course, the very, very warm relationship which was visible between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They have a very cordial working relationship, and this will certainly be an important factor. Secondly, there is shared anxiety about China. Let's not forget that Donald Trump had played a very important role in reviving Quad. And the meeting of the Quad foreign ministers will be taking place in Washington a day after the inauguration. That is on Tuesday. And in fact, this will be one of the Trump administration's first diplomatic engagements. Now, although there is a possibility of a US-China deal of sorts under Donald Trump, the US national security apparatus will continue to see Beijing as an adversary. And I think that US economic planners will continue to do what they can to reduce dependence on China, and these factors will open doors for India. Now, thirdly, as you mentioned again, some of the key picks of Donald Trump are very favorably disposed towards India. These include, of course, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, the FBI Director Kash Patel, the head of the National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Elbridge Colby, several others. These are all people who are seen to be favorably disposed towards India. They have a positive view of India, and this will matter because on a day-to-day basis, having such good, strong, functional relationships will help to smooth over issues. So in my view, as far as India's relations with the United States are concerned, as I said, in agreement with what you yourself pointed out, I think that these will deepen.
Okay, that's wonderfully put. Tara, do you believe in what Mr. Dayal is saying, or is there a flip side to that as well? Because Trump also comes with a lot of second guessing. But do you think under Trump, his presidency going forward, as a second tenure for him as the president of the United States, do you think India's strategic ties or relationship with America will grow? And especially what Mr. Dayal said, shared anxiety about China. Do you think those kind of factors will keep New Delhi and Washington DC glued in the long term?
Thank you first for having me, Christine. Thank you so much. Yeah, I by and large agree with Ambassador Dayal, as it said, very well put. There is a clear shared concern about China across the board, including, in fact, even the Treasury Secretary. Even she's been, this lady, Christine Noem, She has been in as South Dakota governor. She bought TikTok. So it's really across the board, this kind of China. But like you said, there is a flip side to it. You don't really want the US to push you too far on China. I mean, you're doing a very careful, I won't say balancing act. You're telling China where to stop, but at the same time, we're not interested in increasing tensions. The US may want a clearer line from you on China if things get worse. They may want a clearer line on Taiwan if that tension goes up, which they're saying it could in less than 2 years' time. So those pose challenges, right? And second thing is, just now you had the Trump speaking. He spoke to President Xi. Now he says, "I'm going to China." He says, "Arrange that trip." So this flip flop, while it's a given that China is a threat, what deal Trump could make with China, even while keeping that competition going. I mean, that's not going to go away. But what deals he could make is something which is as yet unknown. The sign on Quad is fantastic. I mean, the fact that it's held on that very day, and the next April, I think, is the summit in India. So that is a fantastic signal. But all of these signals has costs. So we'll have to sort of, be a little on our toes here.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Dayal, also because the kind of signaling that keeps coming in from Donald Trump. 1 month, Donald Trump is in a very isolationist mood or phase in life as a leader, wherein he's not really looking at getting himself involved in different wars of the world. The other minute, you have Donald Trump sending out warnings to Greenland, Canada, some of these neighboring nations. So you really can't say what's going on with him sometimes, and that can be tricky, right?
Well, that is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He is unpredictable. In fact, the only thing which can be predicted about Donald Trump is that he will be unpredictable. And he will say certain things which will contradict some of the other things which he will say a few days later. Now, as regards the isolationist policy, to which you rightly pointed out, there are fears that as regards Taiwan, he could adopt an isolationist policy.
Yeah.
And that might, in fact, encourage China to become aggressive in regard to Taiwan. And if Taiwan is out of the way as far as China is concerned, then that could in turn pose serious dangers for Arunachal Pradesh. So Trump's isolationism can be dangerous, but I don't think that his entire security apparatus and his foreign policy advisors will let him play such an isolationist role. I think they will advise him to pursue policies which are in line with well-known and standing American interests. And that, of course, will certainly include containing China, both in the economic and in the territorial.
But Mr. Dayal, if we talk about some of the internal battles we've fought, Doklam, Balakot, Galwan, and all of it under Trump's presidency, right? The last time around, we've seen how the two countries have walked hand in hand. Tara, do you think New Delhi is going to keep in mind the factors that are going to play out in India's favor when it comes to dealing with a leader like Donald Trump, going by what we've experienced so far under his presidency?
That's actually a very good question. Yes, it's a very good question. I think, that would be kept in mind that this is not a man who likes to be pushed around.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from a purely personal point of view. He doesn't like the Chinese. He's made it clear. So apart from that is the fact that there was a good deal of sharing of intel. I mean, we did not want US to come in heavily at that time during Doklam, but there was quite sharing of intel. Right now, what it's going in that same direction of commonalities, how to do this thing, how to work this thing out. And these, all of these guys are non-Washington bureaucracy people, all his appointees. They think differently, like barring, I think, Elbridge Colby, who is within the system and is completely anti-China. So there will be a shared, very, very strong shared concern, and that hopefully will deter China. On Taiwan, I would disagree slightly. The fundamental basis of American policy is that no other country must be higher than us. And if they absorb Taiwan, which is a thriving economy, that shake the foundations of the US, because already the IMF has said that per capita income, China is higher than that of the US.
Yes, and that's where, Mr. Dayal, the last few seconds to you, that's where leadership comes into play, right? Prime Minister Narendra Modi here, President Donald Trump back in America, the two in the past have shown excellent communication skills. They've dealt with problems at hand very effectively, and that certainly is a positive sign.
Yes, certainly, and Trump is very keen on maintaining that sort of a strong relationship. Now, along with giving signals that he wants to visit China, he has also at the same time said that he would be visiting India too. And therefore, his indications are that he wants to go whatever distance is required to strengthen the relationship with India. There are, of course, going to be irritants, there are going to be problems, but we have a very capable leader in our Prime Minister, and he has a bond with Donald Trump. No foreign leader has been given the sort of reception which
absolutely.
Donald Trump
But overall with Donald Trump, we're going to have to wait a little bit, Mr. Dayal, Tara, whether or not it's going to be an expansionist or negotiating America under his presidency. So we're tracking all that very closely, counting down to the big inauguration in the United States of America. That's all from me in this edition of Plain Speak. Over to Anand Narsimhan for the right stand.
Greenlam Laminates presents CNN News 18 Primetime Studio.
Namaste, Jai Hind and Jai Bharat. You're watching The Right Stand, tuned in to here. It's CNN News 18 with me, Anand Narsimhan, and we are coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio presented by Greenlam Laminates. In a sensational revelation in the Saif Ali Khan stabbing case, the Mumbai police revealed that the man arrested for allegedly breaking into the actor's Mumbai residence and stabbing him 6 times is a Bangladeshi national who has entered Bharat illegally and had been living in Mumbai for the last few months. The accused has been identified as Mohammad Shariful Islam Shahzad. The investigation has revealed that the accused does not have any Indian document. The cops also said that some items have been recovered from him that suggest that he is from Bangladesh. He came into Bharat illegally, changed his name to Bijoy Das. He's been living in Mumbai for about 4 months and was working at a housekeeping agency. The latest stabbing incident also lays bare the revelations highlighted in a report released by the TISS, that is the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in 2024, of how the threat of growing illegal influx into Bharat from Bangladesh and Myanmar is now a well-documented fact. The Saif Ali Khan incident is proof of the statistics provided in the report. The report revealed that illegal immigration from Bangladesh and Myanmar is actually changing and reshaping Mumbai's political and socio-economic landscape. Control democracy via demography. That seems to be the strategy. That was what the report suggested. The influx is so much that there's been a decline in the Hindu population, an increase in the Muslim population in the financial capital of Bharat, that is Mumbai. And that too around the choke points, the entry and exit points into Mumbai. That's where these numbers are rapidly growing. The TISS report further says that the demographic shift in Mumbai over recent decades has been alarming. The Hindu population decreased